Assistant Professor in Chemical Engineering Department at LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. The subject that we are going to continue is Nanoscience and Technology. Okay, so in previous lecture we were discussing about the microemulsion. Okay, so we covered the topic of emulsion. So once again, in your types of emulsion, now we have to see about the surfactant, which plays very important role in the formation of your emulsion, right? So first of all, now note down here in the figure you can see that if my polar head, okay, if my polar head it is strongly hydrophilic, then the surfactant it will completely dissolve into your aqueous solution, okay? Whereas if my tail, okay, if it is strongly lipophilic, then the surfactant it will completely dissolve into your lipids. So a good balance must be there in your surfactant, okay? The hydrophilic head and lipophilic tail, they must have good balance of solubility towards water and oil. So first of all, the selection of your surfactant, it is very important, okay? So here once again you can see that if the surfactant is hydrophilic, okay, if your surfactant it is dominated by hydrophilic part, then it will be emulsified inside continuous water phase with oil droplets, okay? In the contrary case, when lipophilic surfactant is used, okay, the dominant part of the surfactant, if it is lipophilic part, then water droplets will be formed in continuous oil phase. Thus, you can see that the emulsion has two kind of types, okay. One is that your water, it is dispersing into your oil phase. Another is oil which is dispersing into your water phase. So, those kind of emulsions, how they are formed, it depends on your selection of your surfactant. Clear? Thus, a surfactant that has balanced hydrophilic and lipophilic property is used to make an emulsion. So now here you can see that this new system is called as microemulsion, and they have different properties than emulsion. So for microemulsion, what is the criteria? That your surfactant, it should be well balanced. Okay, the second figure you can see that it shows you good balance. Okay, that kind of surfactant is selected for the making of a microemulsion. So now we have the new term, that is your microemulsion. So first of all, what is the microemulsion? These are some key points. Very foremost, that water is the continuous phase. Okay, water or any aqueous phase, that is your continuous phase here. So now, what is the shape of your droplet or particles? They are generally spherical in nature. Okay, now comparison of microemulsion with emulsion, one of the key point is that microemulsions are thermodynamically stable, right? Next is about its appearance. It is generally transparent or translucent in nature. Why it's so? Because very small particles are formed. Okay, the diameter of the particles are what? It is in the range of 5 to 100 nanometer. So that is the reason that your solution, that your emulsion, it appears to be almost transparent. Clear? So this is one of the important point, that the dimension of particles is what? It is in the nanometer range. Okay, 5 to 100 nanometer. Now let's have a brief comparison with emulsion. So here you can see that in comparison to different properties, how your emulsion and microemulsions are categorized. So first about the appearance. We already saw when we were talking about emulsion that the appearance of emulsion is what? It is about blurry. Okay, cloudy, you can say it cloudy also. Whereas your microemulsions, they are transparent or translucent in nature. Now about its optical isotropy. Emulsions, they are anisotropic, whereas microemulsion are what? Isotropic. Now about the interfacial tension. In emulsion, this interfacial tension is high, whereas in microemulsion it is very low. Thus, the microemulsion, you can see that it appears to be transparent because well mixing of your two immiscible liquid has been carried out. About the structure, the microstructures, it is static in emulsion, whereas in microemulsion it is dynamic. Okay, because interface is continuously and spontaneously fluctuating. About droplet size, so you can see in emulsion the droplet size is very large. Okay, it is more than 500 nanometer, or you can say it is in the range of micrometer. Whereas in microemulsion the range is about what? 20 to 200 nanometer. That is the biggest size, right? About stability, this is the key point with which you can separate emulsion with microemulsion. So your emulsions are thermodynamically unstable, whereas microemulsions are stable. So phases, emulsion, it appears to be biphases, okay, whereas your microemulsion, it is monophasic. So yes, about preparation, for emulsion you require very large amount of energy, so cost is high, whereas for microemulsion its commercial production is cheap, right? Viscosity, it's bifacial. If its appearance is cloudy, you can judge from that the viscosity is high in emulsions, okay, whereas for microemulsions the viscosity is less. Now about types of microemulsion, once again let's go into detail. Here you can study in detail. So in type 1, that is oil and water, inner phase consisted of oil droplets that are covered by surfactants are dispersed inside continuous water phase. Oil in water, it means water is your continuous phase, oil is your dispersed phase. So here you can see that as the surfactants dissolve in the water phase is rich in terms of surfactant, and oil phase is poor in surfactants. So if you want to form oil in water kind of emulsion, the surfactant which you have to take, it should be hydrophilic. It means it should have more attraction towards water. Clear? Just because the surfactant has poor attraction towards oil, hence your excess oil is being separated out. Clear? In Winsor 2 type of microemulsion, okay, it is also known as inverse Michaelis. Okay, so here what happens, the microemulsion is consisted of water droplets dispersed in your continuous oil phase. So what is that kind of emulsion? Water in oil. Oil is your continuous phase and water is your dispersed phase. Okay, oil phase is rich in surfactant, water phase is poor. In type 3, there is excess water phase at the bottom, excess oil phase at the top. Okay, so here you have 3 different phases in type 3, oil in water, water in oil, and water plus oil plus surfactant. Okay, these are the 3 kind of phases which you will get. In Winsor type 4, it appears like a single phase containing water, oil, surfactant. So here you can see that a homogeneous mixing, okay, complete mixing of water, oil and surfactant has been occurring to give you a single phase microemulsion. Let's see in the figure, this way you will get clear. So now you can differentiate, you have 2 phases, oil phase and aqueous phase. So in the type 1, as I told you, excess oil which is not able to dissolve in your emulsion, okay, that is separated out on the top. Okay, in the second type, the third figure which shows you second type of emulsion, so here you can see that in the bottom part, that is the excess water here which is forming a phase with your emulsion. In type 3, on the top you have excess oil, in the middle you have your emulsion, biphase emulsion. What are the biphase emulsion? You have oil in water plus water in oil. These are 2 kind of emulsion mixed together, and in the bottommost part you have excess water. Whereas the 4th kind of microemulsion, you can see it is a monophase, single phase. It means all the components, oil, water and surfactants, they have completely mixed together and gave you a single phase microemulsion. Now once again, using the fish phase diagram, you can see how different types of your microemulsions are characterized. So on the y-axis you have setting parameter. It can be anything. Here the setting parameter is what? Temperature. Okay, so with temperature and surfactant concentration, you can see how the 4 types of microemulsions are characterized. Okay, so the middle figure, 3 phase, it shows you that water, oil and surfactant, they are mixing together to give you a bi-continuous phase microemulsion. Clear? Now in types of microemulsion, the important point you need to note about type 4 emulsion. Okay, so here you can see that in case of high total concentration of surfactant, okay, if the surfactant concentration is high and you are setting narrow parameters, okay, suppose let's take in a narrow temperature scale, okay, if my setting parameter is what? Temperature, in that narrow temperature range, okay, Winsor 4th type of single phase microemulsion. Okay, that kind of microemulsion, it will give you single phase microemulsion. Okay, a single phase is formed when the total surfactant concentration is high and the setting parameter is narrow. Okay, this region is called as tail region. In conditions lower than the lowest surfactant concentration. Okay, so if the concentration of surfactant it is lower than the lowest required concentration, then you will get 1, 2 and 3 types of Winsor microemulsions. Okay, so from what is the need to classify these types of emulsion? Okay, on the basis of these types you can judge that what is the amount of surfactant you need. Okay, so note down once again, in the conditions lower than the lowest surfactant concentration, okay, from the minimum level, if you're going below that level, then you will get type 1, 2 and 3 kind of micro emulsions. But if your concentration, total surfactant concentration is high, then you will get type 4 Winsor micro emulsion, okay, in which there is only single phase. So now about selectant of surfactant. So see, first of all, note it down. In order for micro emulsions, you need to create a low surface tension among the phases. Okay, so hence accordingly you have to select your surfactant. So what are the parameters which are to be considered while selecting it? First, that the oil to surfactant ratio. Okay, then about surfactant, co-surfactant, aqueous and oil phase concentration and nature, pH, temperature, polarity, hydrophilicity, lipophilicity, suitability of surfactant. So these are the parameters you have to check while selecting your surfactant. Okay, so for selection purpose, we prefer triple phase diagram. In mass transfer, you have already studied in extraction, okay, about the triple phase diagram. Okay, so here also triple phase diagrams are used to study the phase behavior of micro emulsions that contain water, oil and surfactant. So here also you have 3 components in your triple phase diagram. One is your oil, second is your water, third is your surfactant. Okay, each corner of the phase diagram corresponds to 100% concentration of its component. When 4 components are used, one corner on the pseudo triple phase shows a double mixture of surfactant and second surfactant. So here the second surfactant, it is called as co-surfactant, right? So first of all, let's see the triple phase diagram. So here you can see that on the 3 corners I have taken 100% compositions of my oil, water and surfactant. Okay, so in triple phase diagram you can see that at different compositions of my mixture I will get different kind of micro emulsion. This is about surfactants and co-surfactants. So here we already studied about parameters like surfactant and co-surfactants. Okay, so we already have discussed that you need a surfactant to stabilize your microemulsion. Now what is the use of co-surfactant? So now here you can see that, so if you have hydrophobic and hydrophilic phase, okay, hydrophobic is what? Lipophilic, it means oil loving phase, okay, and hydrophilic phase is what means what? Water loving. So the surfactant role is what? It forms an interfacial fins. So here you can see that the blue, the red surfactant, they are forming an interfacial film over the hydrophobic phase here. The use of co-surfactant, what is it? It ensures the flexibility of this interfacial layer. Okay, this helps your surfactant to reduce the interfacial tension and improve the flexibility. Clear? So hence we use co-surfactant also. Now about micelles. The new topic is about your micelles. So now the very simple way to understand it, suppose you have surfactant monomers. We have already discussed your surfactant, it has 2 parts, hydrophilic head and lipophilic tail. Okay, so this surfactant monomers, when they come together in a systematic arrangement, okay, of making it a bulk of monomers, that is your micelles. So you can see on the bottom, a micelles or a micella is an aggregate of surfactant molecules dispersed in a liquid forming a colloidal suspension. So the individual monomers, they aggregate together in a systematic arrangement, okay, thus forming a colloidal suspension. So now, yeah, once more about reverse miscellus. So this is, you can see that construction of your reverse miscellus, right? So hydrophilic head and hydrophobic tail are together. So in reverse miscellus, what happens? The hydrophilic head, they come together around your water phase, okay? They come together around your water phase and form an aggregate. So that is your reverse miscellus. Clear? So this way you can see that how reverse miscellus is formed and which leads to the formation of your nanoparticles. Right? The figure C, it shows you illustration of a reaction mixture for magnetic nanoparticles using reverse miscellus mechanism. So yes, now how to differentiate your miscellus and reverse miscellus. So first you can see that you have oil in water emulsion. It means water is my continuous phase, oil is dispersed in it. So in oil in water emulsion, I will get my direct miscellus. Okay, it means the lipophilic tail, they will come together around your oil. Okay, whereas in your water in oil emulsion, it means water is dispersed phase and oil is your continuous phase. So here you can see that is your reverse miscellus. It means here the hydrophilic head, they will come around your water molecule. Okay, once again you can see that. See, in the oil phase, in your direct miscellus, okay, the lipophilic tail, okay, they are surrounding your oil phase, okay, whereas in your water in oil emulsion, that is formation of reverse miscellus, you can see that around the aqueous phase, okay, hydrophilic head are combining together and forming an aggregate. Now let's see about nanoparticle synthesis by microemulsion method. Okay, so how we can synthesize the nanoparticles. So this is the simple flow diagram which is for the production of CeZr nanopowder. So the first step is, you can see here I have formed my two microemulsions. Your microemulsion number 1, so how it is formed? You have 53% N-octane, 13% CTAB, 13% 1-butanol and 21% metal nitrate solution. Similarly, you can see about your microemulsion 2, it has 53% N-octane, 13% CTAB, 13% 1-butanol, 21% NaOH solution. So from all these components, some will act like a oil phase, some will act like aqueous phase, other are your surfactant and co-surfactant. So what you are doing, you are mixing and stirring it for 3 hours. Okay. So now this will result in the formation of pale yellow precipitates. Okay, so here now what you are doing, slurry of suspended solids and solution mixture are left for about 24 hours. So then you are washing it with ethanol about 3 times and with distilled water. So then drying the precipitate at 110 degrees Celsius for 24 hours and then you get your CeZr powder. Okay, so how synthesis is done? So see, microemulsion route is carried out to get the particle size at nano level, but then you have to carry out certain processes, like here you can see that precipitation is done, drying is done. Okay, so in this topic we saw about making of nanoparticles via microemulsion route. Why we take microemulsion route? Because this is the property of microemulsion to give very small particle size in the range of, you saw about 20 to 200 nanometer. Once this particle has been formed, you carry out several methods to get your nanoparticles. Like here in this example we saw we need nano powder. So once my nanoparticle has been formed, it is subjected to drying, dispersion. Okay, so this was about your microemulsion method. So that's for today's lecture. Thank you.